Facebook.
Rid of the Second Amendment. Rid of the Second Amendment.
I mean, this woman is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen.
Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture.
Jesus, I say that.
Well, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day and or night. I'm just trying to get myself together here. Unfortunately, I've been having a bit of a stomach ache for the last, like, 6-8 hours or something. Thought it was gonna go away. It has not, so I've been about as half as productive as I would have liked to be today, but we'll still manage.
China? China. China. I have to have my China. They love me.
Ah, shit. I did it again. Hold on. Try this again. Take 2. Well, it's good to see all of you folks once again. We got a whole lot of stuff to cover, so we're gonna get straight to it. Buckle up those seatbelts, folks. It's time for a journey into the abyss.
And the Georgia State Legislature passed sweeping new election rules into law, expanding access for candidates trying to get on the ballot, and perhaps limiting access for some Georgians to vote. Joining us now, political reporter at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and MSNBC political contributor Greg Bluestein. All right, explain the first part, the candidates to get on the ballot. Why does this make it easier for them?
Well, one of the biggest changes of this legislative package that Governor Kemp is expected to sign is it would grant any political party
But first, breaking news in the Bronx, a 2-year-old boy shot as he walked with his mother. Tonight, a police search for the suspect who pulled the trigger. Hello, I'm Joe Torres.
And I'm Shantae Lance. We begin with the hunt for the person who pulled the trigger behind the shooting of an innocent toddler. It happened in broad daylight around 1:45 this afternoon at the busy intersection of East Fordham Road and Grand Concourse. The 2-year-old now in the hospital.
Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo joins us from Fordham. Anthony.
Okay.
Joe, Shantae, anyone who's been to Fordham Road, especially on a Saturday, knows how busy it can get. Some of the hundreds and hundreds of people walking around here, a mother and her 2-year-old son, who police say were walking out in front of this TD Bank, where you can see gunfire has blasted through the bank's front window. One of those bullets hitting someone not even old enough to understand what gun violence is. Right in the middle of a busy Fordham Road sidewalk, paper cups cover shell casings and bullet fragments. Tommy was shaken by the sound.
Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom.
The store manager was working when gunfire erupted right outside his clothing shop.
All of a sudden we heard the noise, boom, 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 like that. So a lot of people were running from this side where the incident occurred. So That's when we got to know something had happened.
Police.
Yeah, well, I think you get it, chat. This is what needs to happen.
Get rid of the Second Amendment.
Yep, you heard it. Alec Jones, he said it. And I agree. We just gotta...
Get rid of the Second Amendment.
And that'll fix things. Because Americans don't deserve guns. Okay, now to the video that I somehow went to first. This is a MSNBC video from a day ago entitled Georgia's New Election Rules Are Tremendous Strains on the Already Strapped Resources.
And the Georgia State Legislature passed sweeping new election rules into law, expanding access for candidates trying to get on the ballot, and perhaps limiting access for some Georgians to vote. Joining us now, political reporter at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and MSNBC political contributor Greg Bluestein. All right, explain the first part, the candidates to get on the ballot. Why does this make it easier for them?
Well, one of the biggest changes of this legislative package that Governor Kemp is expected to sign it would grant any political party that is qualified for the presidential ballot in at least 20 states immediate access to Georgia's ballot. That could open the door for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or another third-party candidate to immediately get on the ballot. And Republicans in Georgia, at least, feel like that could hurt President Biden more than it could hurt Donald Trump in November.
Why?
Well, they think that these independent voters, you know, in the suburbs and beyond, who are still up in the air about whether or not they like Donald Trump or Joe Biden, will end up leaning towards Donald Trump. I don't see it myself. I've been to several Robert F. Kennedy Jr. rallies, especially including one here in Georgia. And of the 24 or so voters that I interviewed there, most of them were already leaning Republican, were leaning towards Donald Trump. But I think they think that the overall name brand of a Kennedy name brand will end up hurting Biden more.
Let me ask you about voting and the ability for voters to actually vote. What does this new change in rules do to that?
Yeah, this is the other big part. This is the furthest reaching election law package since the 2020 election in Georgia that really overhauled and rewrote Georgia voting rules. This change reinforces how individual voters can challenge the eligibility of literally thousands and thousands of voters, an unlimited number of voters within their own county. Now, we're not talking about just a few people here and there, Katie. Activists have disputed more than 100,000 voter registrations in Georgia since 2021. Most of these challenges have been rejected, but elections officials say it's a tremendous drain on their already strapped resources in places, especially in rural.
It's a good idea. You make like a VAR system, but for election fraud. And so you get all the crazy people just sending in literally anything. I saw an illegal immigrant. He was voting. No, that was your neighbor, John. No, he's illegal. Yeah, so that's a bad plan. As for the first part of it, I honestly have much less objections to allowing third-party candidates onto the ballot. You might be shocked to hear that, but doesn't sound like a problem. It sounds like a bill that got half of things right and then went completely awry on the second half. And yeah, it's the kind of government stupidity we can probably expect from Georgia. You've been to... Oh, not you. Yeah, is that what he did say that, didn't he? It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Okay, we're just going to quickly touch on this situation, which we've looked at a couple of times now. This is just, it's just breaking news. Wreckage removal from collapsed Baltimore Bridge to begin.
The Army Corps and their partners will begin to move forward with the crane operations today. The north sections of the Key Bridge are going to be cut up and removed. This will eventually allow us to open up a temporary restricted channel that will help us to get more vessels in the water around the site of the collapse. Conditions in the water make it unsafe for rescue divers. And we're not just talking about weather and wind. We're talking about debris. We're talking about wreckage. We are going to move as fast as possible. We are going to ensure the safety of our first responders, and we are not going to compromise one for the other. This is impacting all of us. And the nation's economy and the nation's workers are relying on us to move quickly and to move together.
Okay. Now, sticking with bridges, but not necessarily in any real connection to this story, aside from the fact we're talking about bridges still. This is a piece from 22 hours ago from the Associated Press entitled "Closed Bridges Highlight Years of Neglect, Backlog of Repairs Awaiting Funding."
Thousands of vehicles used to travel on this road. Now, the flow has been reduced to a trickle.
You couldn't walk across the highway. The traffic was so bad. Now, you can take your sweet time.
And then we're talking about 15,000 cars a day that are missing now.
Traffic dropped because the road connects to a bridge that was closed last October after federal officials raised concerns over a section of the century-old span. City leaders say the estimated $6 million needed to clean and inspect the bridge is not readily available, leaving affected businesses with an uncertain future.
Our workflow's probably down about 30–35% from where we were at this time last year. So, I mean, we're a small business, so we just watch our spending.
You know, you look to government for pretty basic stuff, and government seems to do a lot, maybe too much. And then for
oh my god, too much. This guy, he definitely strikes me as a sort of an idiot, but yeah.
Basic stuff to get overlooked
Let him slide.
is frustrating.
The woes caused by the closure of the Fishing Wars Memorial Bridge illustrate the persistent nationwide issue of aging bridges and the backlog to repair them.
We have not maintained our infrastructure at the rate that we should for many, many years. And now we're trying to play catch up. And that's the problem that we have.
According to the federal government, about 42,400 spans are in poor condition nationwide.
That's not good. 42,400. That's a big number. I feel like we should definitely do something about that. Thought we had the best infrastructure in the world. Somebody told me that once. Might have been made up.
Condition nationwide. An Associated Press analysis found nearly 16,000 of those bridges were also in poor shape a decade ago. One of those bridges rated poor was a span on Interstate 195 in Rhode Island. It was suddenly shut down in December. This month, the governor announced the bridge will be demolished and replaced, a process that will take at least 2 years to complete. The news was a gut punch to impacted businesses.
Well, there's not enough people coming through the area. That has gone down significantly, and that people are altering their lives and altering their routes and kind of staying away from us. I like to think of East Providence as the new Bermuda Triangle. Nobody wants to be anywhere near it.
Wait, what's wrong with Nightbot? Hold on. I don't understand. Are the commands not working? I'm confused. Oh, you're trying to add a command? I think that's the wrong way to add commands. I think that's part of the problem. I think I've changed the add command. Hold on. Streamlord will fix it. Why what? I don't even know if I changed it. I think it just is. I think it just is different than what you're trying to do. Commands. Default. I think adding a command is command add command. Or addcom. ADDcom. I can just add this command in for you. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. Found it. I'm gonna do it. You want it to be labeled tomato? Command Tom. You doing textbook stuff, man? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Well, I added the command. But once again, I don't think you need to do the command add for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure if you do it like this, right? If you do like add. Yeah, you just add com. Use that, okay? You did not do adcom. No, you did commands add Tom. That's not the same thing. It rhymes. So glad I added that command in there too. I also added the tomato command though. So you got this, all right? Got that one. So you're saying it's my fault. Okay, that's fine. I can live with that. Alright, what am I doing next? Okay, this next one is from 6 hours ago. AT&T says leaked data set impacts about 73 million. Sorry, let me try that again. AT&T says leaked data set impacts about 73 million. There we go. I did it. Whoops, that's not how you do this. What the fuck?
Telecom company AT&T said on Saturday.
What the fuck are you doing? Oh, good. My computer's already revolting today. That's... yeah, that's about it. That's about how the day is gone, I would say.
Telecom company AT&T said on Saturday.
Holy fuck. What is happening? You gonna do this multiple times to me? I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. Wait, am I getting blocked because I'm using OBS right now from watching this video?
Thousands of vehicles used to travel on this road.
Hold your fucking shit. What the hell?
Thousands of vehicles used to
The Army Corps and their partners will begin to move forward with a crane.
Okay, chat, hold on. I gotta deal with this, apparently. Wait, what the fuck? How did this happen? What in the... How? Explain that. How are you gonna... What? This is... What? How, I don't understand. I don't understand how this happened. Am I figuring it out? That is so rude, AC. Of course I'm figuring it out. Good God. Look, I mean, you can watch Hassan reacting to Olay cooking Eric Adams. I'm not here to stop you from doing that. If that's your, you know, If that's your thing, by all means. I'm just very confused. Because it just signed me out of my... just lost... Oh my god, I have to go through this whole process again. Okay. There we go.
But first, breaking news in the Bronx, a 2-year-old boy shot.
Yes, we know. We talked about this. Thank you. Try this again. Maybe this time it'll work.
Telecom company
Oh my
AT&T
God.
said on Saturday that a data leak could have affected about 73 million people. The company said it's investigating a data set released on the dark web about 2 weeks ago, and that its preliminary analysis shows it has impacted approximately 7.6 million current account holders and 65.4 million former account holders. AT&T said the data set appears to be from 2019 or earlier. The company said it does not have evidence of unauthorized access to its systems, and it doesn't know whether the data originated from AT&T or one of its vendors. AT&T said the incident has not had a material impact on its operations.
Oh, that's good.
The company is in contact with all those affected and has reset.
As long as it didn't impact their operations. I mean, geez, that would be terrible.
Passcodes for 7.6 million current customers. It also said it will offer credit monitoring wherever applicable. In February,
How benevolent and generous of AT&T. Good God. Well, there you go, chat. I don't know if you're an AT&T customer, but yeah, a lot of data just got leaked, apparently. I think they said 7 million current customers and 60 billion former customers going back to 2019. Yay. Wait, what's that? Jen won't hang out with your dog? Well, that's sad. It's very sad. Alright, this next video. Ah, shit. Hold on, chat. We gotta take an impromptu break here. Very sorry. Unexpected break. Sorry about that, chat. Unavoidable. Okay. What is this next thing? Okay, yeah. Alright, because today is Land Day, we are going to look at a number of different things relating to protests to free Palestine. This first video is from a day ago from Democracy Now! It is entitled Protesters Disrupt Record $25 million Biden Fundraiser in New York City as Thousands March Against Gaza War. Now, we kind of quickly touched on this previously, I believe, maybe like a day ago or 2 days ago, I think. But this is more in-depth, so let's take a look.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. Pro-Palestine protesters disrupted the largest one-night fundraiser in presidential campaign history here in New York yesterday. The star-studded event at Radio City Music Hall in Manhattan featured President Biden alongside former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, raised a record $25 million for Biden's re-election campaign. More than 5,000 people paid to attend, with tickets costing up to $500,000 each. For $100,000.
$500,000 each just to see Biden, Obama, and Clinton? Come on. We missed your stream this morning. I'm sorry, AC. It was morning, so that was one of the main barriers to me being there, unfortunately.
Guests could get a picture with the 3 U.S. presidents taken by the renowned photographer Annie Leibovitz. Celebrities in attendance included Queen Latifah, Mindy Kaling, and Lizzo. The main event was an onstage conversation with the 3 U.S. presidents moderated by late-night talk show host Stephen Colbert. But just 10 minutes into their conversation, Biden was talking. Protesters began disrupting the event, calling on the president to stop arming Israel and to call for a ceasefire in Gaza.
We had no president on January the 6th. There was an insurrection.
Shame on you, Joe Biden! Shame on you! Shame on you! You are genocide in Palestine, and no amount of full concern that you do will change the billions that you are doing! Out the door. There's blood on your hands! One right here. Blood on your hands!
Permanent victory in Palestine. But I do believe.
For people watching at home, excuse me, Mr. President. For people who are watching at home on the feed, you may not be able to hear that there's some protesters here who, hold on a second here.
You talk about the innocent death of Palestinians. How dare you talk about the innocent death of Palestinians? Palestinians are dying right now because of your actions. Palestinians are dying right now because of your actions. Because of what you're doing. Because of what you're doing.
Shame. Stop brutalizing him. Stop brutalizing him.
The protesters were all physically escorted out.
Yeah, shit was fucked up. It sucks to watch people who are just using their free speech getting brutalized and manhandled by Secret Service people. Shane? Why you just keep saying Shane? Okay. I guess we'll just say Shane from now on. And we'll know what we're saying. Hey, good for Gabby. Good to see you.
The event disruption was organized by a coalition including Adla Justice Project, Palestinian Youth Movement, and Jewish Voice for Peace, and the Sunrise Movement. Meanwhile, outside the event, thousands took to the streets to protest President Biden's support for Israel's assault on Gaza. Protesters gathered at Bryant Park and marched up to Radio City Music Hall. Democracy Now! Was there and spoke to some of the protesters about why they were there.
Blank New York campaign for the upcoming primary happening April 2nd on Tuesday. We are asking people to leave it blank because there is no uncommitted option in New York City. So we rather tell them to scan their ballot as is, and that will then count as uncommitted to show Genocide Joe that we are not going to stand while we watch our brothers and sisters being genocided.
My name is Jenna. I am a first-generation American Palestinian, and we have had enough. My family's voted Democrat for as long as we've lived in the U.S. It's heartbreaking. We feel guilty, and we feel awful. I feel like I voted for my own people's genocide. And I'm done letting Democrats get away with it just because we're scared of the alternative. My name is Karina
Whoopsies. Sorry about that, chat. That was a sound shot that I threw on the board today and didn't label and was trying to fix, and then screamed over this poor young woman.
We feel awful. I feel like I voted for my own people's genocide. And I'm done letting Democrats get away with it just because we're scared of the alternative.
My name is Karina Garcia. I'm running for Vice President of the United States with my comrade Claudia de la Cruz, and we're running with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And we're here today as we've been through all of these protests for Palestine because we understand that our government is orchestrating this genocide, that without their support, without their financing, Israel could not be doing what they're doing to the Palestinian people. And it's important for us to come together and not allow these war criminals like Biden or Clinton or Obama to just use these moments to be in New York City to raise money. The people are waking up and they're seeing that the Democratic Party is where hope goes to die. And that the people have to build a new government for the working class, for the people of this country, that we cannot allow them to drag us into the 1800s, drag us into a nuclear war.
You know, the fact that we had access to watching a genocide in real time, and we were able to see for ourselves that these people are liars, that everything that they have told us about Palestine and about the Middle East has been a lie.
Yeah, so like that's what I heard. I didn't quite understand it either. But apparently she's running for vice president. I didn't realize that was something you can do. I'm actually not sure that you can actually do that, but apparently that's what she's doing. Makes less sense than running for president in my mind, but hey.
We are able to make, and also we're able to make the connections. Young people are able to make the connections between what's happening in Palestine, what's happening to migrants in the U.S., what's happening to queer and trans people in the U.S., and we are saying free Palestine, people over profit, and an end to U.S. imperialism everywhere.
Anybody who sees this, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, you have to take part in this. You cannot be silent. Everyone must become involved. There are lives being lost. There are pregnant women being run over by tanks. This is abominable. We cannot learn about the Holocaust and watch movies about the Holocaust and then say, oh, well, you know, I would have done something then. You have to do it now. It's like Aaron Bushnell said, what would you be doing during those times? You're doing it now. So if you don't like what you're doing, if it's not enough, change it.
Voices from outside Radio City Music Hall, where Presidents Biden, Obama, and Clinton spoke inside in the largest single-night fundraiser in U.S. presidential campaign history. More than $25 million was raised.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I can't believe he can manage to raise that much money in the middle of all of this. How people can support that right now. Okay. Now this is, like these next two ones are both from Land Day protests. This first one is in America, in New York City. This is breakthrough news. It was streamed 3 hours ago. We're not going to watch the whole thing as it's very, very, very long.
Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! from the climate justice activists all the way to city workers. We have feminist and women's groups and Muslim and faith leaders from across the city. We have people from Egypt, from Yemen, from Lebanon, from Iraq, from all the people of the world who say enough is enough.
Okay, there's a bunch more of this, so I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Let's see. Let's watch part of the actual march here. Just because I have the opportunity while we're watching this to pause and speak to you all, I'm going to point this out for you right now. You have one support character here. You got old Scott Bakula right now, but there's 21 people in chat, only 15 likes that I'm seeing. It means that you could potentially be holding back the rest of chat from enjoying further benefits right now for free. You just got to click it with your thumb or finger, or really anything with electromagnetic energy going through it. Yeah, you're right, Beacon. It is inspiring to see all these people here showing up to these rallies. I don't know if any of you made it, but I remember reminding you all this yesterday, so it does feel like we're at least somehow contributing to it, even if it's not by being physically there at all moments. But am I familiar with the Valley Labor Report? Yeah, I think I'm mildly familiar with that channel. I don't know. Am I? I don't know if I subscribe to them. It's weird. I feel like they've definitely been on things I watch, like Majority Report or whatever else. Now I think about it, they don't really go through my feed all that much. I don't know what's up with that. It's probably on me. It's also probably on the fact that it's a massive river of information out there, and sometimes you just don't, sometimes you're just overwhelmed with it, if you will. Alright, back to this. We're getting closer. I think we have 17 likes now. It's just 3 away. 3 away. Very, very close.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river.
The the number of people out for this protest is incredible. There's got to be like tens of thousands of people out here right now. That's just me doing a quick estimation, but I don't think I'm far off. Hello, Galactic Earthlings. Hello to you, public utility. Alright, let's watch a little bit of the evening, because holy fuck, yeah, okay, yeah, there's a ton of people. Holy shit.
والشهيد حبيب الله لا إله إلا الله والشهيد حبيب الله والصهيوني عدو الله Free, free Palestine Free Palestine Free Palestine Free, free Palestine Free Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! From the sea to the river! Palestine will live forever! Palestine will live forever! Alle, 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 alle! Alle, على الثورة alle! Alle, 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 alle!
Even Joe Rogan is calling it a genocide now. I think I saw that video.
From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. 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 Up, up with liberation. Down, down with occupation. Up, up with liberation. Down, down with occupation. Up, up with liberation. Down, down with occupation. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution. Intifada, intifada. Long live intifada. Intifada, intifada. Long live intifada. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution.
Okay, well, if you all want to watch the rest of that, as it's a 3-hour-long video, you can find it on Breakthrough News, live from New York City, Land Day March for Palestine. Okay. What are you quoting, AC? I don't even know what that's from at all. Okay, one more video on the protest. This is a speech from Khalid Abdallah, who I believe is an actor. This is from 4 hours ago in, well, it was earlier than that. It was like 6 hours ago, 7 hours ago, I think, in London.
Egyptian actor and activist. You may know him from the very recent series of The Crown. Please, please give a very, very warm welcome to Khalid Abdallah.
Thank you. I speak to you today with a mixture of pride and grief. For those of you who've been marching now for 6 months, I imagine you have a story like mine. I stand in front of you now as an inheritor of the struggle for Palestinian liberation. It was on my father's shoulders when I was 3 that I was taken to my very first demonstration, learning to chant Free Palestine, when even the word Palestine was something our politicians wouldn't say without courting controversy. And now here I stand, that child grown up into a 43-year-old man whose children are here today. And while it fills me with pride to have them here and stand in front of them demanding a free Palestine, I dream of a world in which this is not the legacy we pass on to them. I do not dream of a world in which in 20, let alone 40 years, my children stand in Trafalgar Square demanding justice for the Palestinians, demanding an end to the occupation. We stand here on a threshold. There is no time in these 40 years in which we were in our thousands and our millions, week after week after week. The moment we are living is that change in global consciousness that we have been waiting for 75 years. Wherever you are and wherever you stand, you will know that among the many things that have marked these months is the thousands of children who have been killed, orphaned, maimed, and the thousands who have survived, for whom this is the beginning of their life. Amongst the most powerful chants, whose children? Our children! Whose children? Our children! Whose children? Our children! While I have been part of this struggle for over 40 years, since I was a child, I know that there are parts of me that grew up into the silences, that had come to believe that taking risks was not worth it because somehow this struggle wouldn't end in my lifetime. But now we have reached a moment where the silences we lived have created the circumstances for a genocide. Over 30,000 dead and all the harrowing numbers and statistics of devastation we read day after day. We cannot allow this to continue for another generation.
Okay. Well, I think that was a very moving speech. He does go into even more detail, but I think you get the point. This man is personally affected by all of this, and this is a moment where perhaps the history of the world can be changed for the better, even though we are facing, well, the Palestinians are facing a literal genocide, and we are looking at it from afar. What's next? Do we do this? Do we do this today? What time is it? Where are we? Yeah, let's do it. It's the weekend. It's the weekend. Okay, since it's the weekend, and I also am kind of having a shitty day, I threw these in here because I'd rather not be stressed out. My stomach has been really hurting me all day. I don't know what the fuck it is. Was that a Pearl Jam quote? I'm confused. It didn't seem very Pearl Jammy. Could be though, I suppose. So let's watch these two videos. These are basically... These are the only ones? Wait, what in the fuck? Hold the phone. Why is this organized in this way? This is dumb. Who was in charge of this? I thought... Fuck me. Here I was thinking I did a good thing. Thinking I was all prepared for today. I was like, okay. Can do this stream. Not a big deal. But, okay, there we go. Alright, fixed it. Fixed it. Alright, now we're going to look at some environmental related news, but not exactly what I'd call... Well, yeah, some of it definitely touches on climate change. But, is more related to humans' impact on the climate and the environment itself and the creation of human environments, which is something I don't think we think about enough. So this first one gets into it by, maybe we should watch this in reverse. Maybe we should watch this in reverse. Hold on. Let's watch this in reverse. I kind of like this the other way. No, we're going to do it the way I had it. No, I liked it the way I had it. Fuck it. Okay. Alright, this one is from PBS Terra from 2 weeks ago. Why are these urban lizards evolving in overdrive? Humans? Boo. Well, we're all humans here, I think. Whoops. So yeah, this is a study that these two individuals did on anoles, which are a lizard found most commonly in the southern hemisphere, or at least I think it's like below, like it's somewhere around Florida, like that level on the latitude lines, if you will. Below that is where I believe most anoles tend to thrive, although I'm pretty sure they exist in a few other microclimates and things like that. Is this freaking muted? Why am I doing this to myself? Unmute. Please play.
So I set up a lizard racetrack. Okay. And I fitted the racetrack with different surfaces. One was tree bark, one was metal, like fence post metal, and then one was painted concrete. And then I took high-speed video of these lizards racing up the racetrack.
You might be wondering why we're racing lizards. I promise it's science, and definitely not an underground lizard gambling ring. There are more than 400 species of anoles throughout the Caribbean, Central and South America, and the southeastern US. That diversity has made them an unlikely hero in the science world because of their remarkable ability to adapt to different environments. Biologists like me have studied them for decades and published literally thousands of papers on them. But one thing we're still trying to answer is how these...
I knew something fucked up was happening. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. But that shit was on 1.25. I was like, this something sounds fucking wrong, dude.
Lizards are evolving to thrive in yet another major ecosystem, cities. It turns out these scaly city slickers are adapting to urban life in some really surprising ways. I'm Shane Campbell-Staton, and this is Human Footprint.
Oh. Caught it right before we got deep into the thick of this documentary. Well done, Moanoa and chat, for having achieved, 25 likes. My God, you rocketed past 20 without me even noticing. You know, you're only 5 away from getting, Angela Lansbury. Okay. Go, web, go.
Juan Ponce de Leon founded the settlement that became San Juan, Puerto Rico in 1508. making it one of the oldest colonial cities in the Americas. 500 years later, that tiny colony has grown into the third largest city in the Caribbean islands. But amazingly, you can still see native wildlife here.
If you walk through the city, you'll just see them on everything.
And like, I don't know about anybody here, if anybody's I think I know at least a couple of people here are from the South, and like in Florida, whatnot. It is, I used to, like, as a kid, go to my grandfather's place in Florida and like catch these things. They are everywhere, okay? They are literally everywhere. I found this to be fascinating because apparently they are evolving on overdrive in cities for whatever reason.
Kristen Winchell is an expert in urban evolution. She studies lizards called anoles, which live all over the American tropics. For Kristen, anoles aren't just a scientific inspiration, they're also her artistic muse.
I guess first of all, what is the greatest animal and why is it anoles?
Bing bong boop. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I don't know, they're just fantastic little critters. They're so expressive and so charismatic, and I mean, they're also great for scientific study.
If you can't tell, I'm a big anole fan too. I used to catch them as a kid in South Carolina, and I've been studying them since grad school. Kristen and I actually worked together on anole research here in Puerto Rico.
I feel like most people...
Are you saying I'm weird? Are you saying I'm weird for catching these things? Okay, these people's job is catching... They made a job out of catching these lizards, okay? Don't call me weird for catching lizards, okay? I feel like that's what you're doing. I don't appreciate you lumping me in with the weird stuff that happens in Florida. I'm not a Floridian. I just happened to go there from time to time. You usually listen to either 1.5 or 2.0. That's what I do when I'm like researching stuff, but I feel like it's oppressive with chat. Like with people actually hear.
Forests and things like that. You decided to go study them in the city.
It was because I was looking for a species that might be adapting to urban environments. Came across anoles and started reading about their rich evolutionary history and rapid change after you modify the environment. I just had this moment where I was like, if this is happening, it's in these guys.
Once you know what you're looking for, anole adaptations can be easy to spot. You see, species that live in different habitats have different traits. Big toe pads that help them stick to leaves in the treetops. Long legs that allow them to run fast on the ground. Short legs that help them climb without falling on the tiniest twigs, and so on. Kristen's question was, which of these traits, if any, would help anoles survive in the city?
All right, let's find some lizards.
Kristen and I studied the Puerto Rican crested anole.
Well, public utility, as a dude who runs a YouTube channel, I can tell you 100% that both on the app on your phone, as well as on the like the YouTube, like any browser that you're using YouTube on, you can access the settings where you will find a list of the people that you have blocked. It exists, I can tell you that with certainty.
Step one is to find out whether urban and forest anoles are different from one another.
Say it and the lizard gods will deliver. Yeah, there's a female right there.
So we hit the streets to catch some lizards.
She's squirrely.
You're too slow, Kay. Stop embarrassing yourself on TV.
One and then yeah, okay.
Wow,
Thanks, Shane.
cold.
It's real nice. Invite me on your show and then make fun of me.
Catching anoles is a delicate, scientific...
Okay, hold on. I'm going to speed this up real quick to a different spot where they start assessing some more stuff. Let's see. Yeah, like right here.
What did you find?
One of my initial findings was that in the city, the lizards had longer limbs relative to their body length, larger toe pads with more of these specialized scales on the toe pads.
Okay.
These are exactly the kinds of adaptations you might expect to see in cities, based on what we already know about anoles living elsewhere.
They're clinging to things like glass and metal and even painted concrete, which is a lot smoother than anything you find in the forest. And so there's kind of this combined selective pressure on toe pads, making them able to cling better, and limb length, making them able to navigate the structural environment better.
Okay.
The urban lizards were different.
That is a huge
The
anole.
real test was whether they could actually outperform their forest-dwelling counterparts when facing a uniquely urban challenge.
So I set up a lizard racetrack.
Okay.
And I fitted the racetrack with different surfaces. One was tree bark, one was metal, like fence post metal.
I don't think we have a gecko command.
And then one was painted concrete. And then I took high-speed video of these lizards racing up the racetrack. What I expected is that the urban lizards would be able to run faster on the concrete and the metal and the urban substrates.
Those are the environments that they were living in.
Yeah, exactly. And so they'd be better at doing that than the forest lizards. What I found, though, was that the urban lizard's just faster overall.
On anything?
On anything.
Even like bark and stuff that's in forest?
Even bark, no matter what angle, no matter what structure we put on the track surface, they were faster.
They're just hot rods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're running a lizard racing ring, just remember, okay, always put your money on the city lizard, not those forest lizards, okay? Anyways, I just thought it was interesting because in the back of my mind, I always kind of had the assumption that animals living in urban environments were evolving differently than animals living outside of them. I think this definitely confirms it. Now, while lizards do evolve much faster than other sorts of creatures, it is definitely a thing. And let's move on to this next one, which goes into further detail some of the things I'm trying to get into here. This is making me think of I used to have geckos when I was a little kid. And then they died too. It's making me sad. R.I.P. lizards. R.I.P. This is also from PBS Terra. This though is from 2 days ago, and it's entitled "Why It's Time to Stop Saving the Planet," with a asterisk at the end.
In everything from pop culture to advertising to environmentalist slogans, we often hear that we need to save the environment or save the planet.
Save the planet. Save the planet. Save our planet.
We gotta save this planet. We're being stupid.
This idea portrays the natural world as a place out there, separate from the human world, as if the environment is everything on the planet that isn't human and that humans don't make. But here's the problem. All too often, this way of thinking prevents us from seeing how we live inside of environments. It allows us to distance ourselves from our responsibility to the places where people live. If we really want to save the planet, then we need to rethink how we're part of it. Take a look at California's Six Rivers National Forest. For much of the 20th century, mainstream Americans defined this land as a pristine wilderness that people could visit to commune with the natural world.
We live in a truly beautiful land, which we must preserve for those who come after us.
However, this forest didn't grow to look like this all on its own. It's a product of thousands of years of tending and cultural burning by the indigenous peoples who inhabit it.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay? It cooks our food. It protects our land. It restores our environment.
These burnings open up space in the canopy and allow floor vegetation to grow for basket weaving and food. The people who live here change and manage their environments to eat, build shelter, and move around. But humans aren't the only living things that change their environments.
Hearing a lot about next year is the wolf in the West. That's the reintroduction of wolves into Yellowstone National Park.
In 1995, after decades of absence due to overhunting, wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone, and they had a huge effect on the landscape.
Canis lupus is making a new debut.
They culled the populations of deer, shifting the behavior of large grazers. This allowed forests to regrow and biodiversity to flourish.
Aspen and cottonwood trees are again growing tall. Small beaver dams have reappeared, and the ponds behind them allow trout to flourish.
Soil erosion decreased. Rivers, channels, and pools changed flow and form, completely reshaping the geography and microclimate of the park. This isn't unique to Yellowstone and its wolves, or the indigenous peoples of Six Rivers National Forest. This happens on every inch of the planet. Every living thing in our world changes environments to eat, drink, and live. The question isn't whether we should change environments, it's how we change them. Humans are experts at manipulating their environments, channeling rivers to build irrigation systems, mining mountainsides to power and build our homes, phones, and cars. Look around you, and everything you see is a product of changing environments. Here, in this studio in Los Angeles, California, the power that turns on our lights comes from transforming river flows, fossil fuels, and the sun's rays into energy. The light in cameras and walls are all made out of metals and materials dug out of the ground that were processed at a factory, all products of vast environmental changes. It begs the question then, why do so many people fail to see the environment in our studio or our offices, or clothes or cars or kitchens? The separation between the human world and the natural world is a long-standing tradition in Western culture. Many of us are taught to see nature as a more authentic world out there, an escape from the chaos of modern life.
Okay, that totally sums up what I think I wanted us to just, get in our heads a little bit, because it's, none of this is really separated. We just do it in our minds. It's been fabricated for us by people before us to help us through this crazy human world that we've constructed. But it's all part of the same thing. We are not separate. Okay, that gave me a little time to recover. My stomach still feels like shit right now. I have no idea what it's been. Literally like 14 hours. I feel like I don't even know. I'm exaggerating now. It's been like 10. It just hurts. Let's see. You figured it out, public utility? I'm glad. That was bothering me. It was bothering me quite a lot. And I am glad we have fixed it. But how far are we in right now? Hour 20. Gotten through that much. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Then let's go to this next video. This is from 5 days ago. We already touched on this slightly, but it was a very short piece. So I feel like we should at least look at this one again from from Nairobi, where flood has caused havoc.
Moving on, at least 3 people are reported to have died following heavy floods that caused havoc in the capital city of Nairobi on Sunday night. Among those killed is a police officer attached to Kamkunji police station who was swept away by floods after successfully rescuing 4 people who were trapped in a stall within the country bus station. Now, Nairobi has long grappled with the recurring issue of flooding, which has become an all too familiar sight during the rainy seasons.
This is the scene witnessed in several neighborhoods in Nairobi, flooding causing damage and destruction. The Karatasi Product Company was not spared. Flood waters submerged in these premises and disrupted daily operations. The flood mitigation infrastructure system here seems inadequate.
Shida yenye tuko nayo hapa kubwa sana, si mara ya kwanza. Hii kitu ishatupata karibu mara tatu ikifuatana. Na ni shida ni ile the same.
Okay, so I don't speak what he's speaking. And there's no subtitles. So we're just going to stop it there, but I think that gives us at least a reminder of what's been going on in East Africa, where our cyclone Gamain went through about a week ago, hitting most of the East Coast. I think Madagascar wound up taking the brunt of it for the southern tip of Africa, but Nairobi and I think Somalia as well got hit. I'm not entirely sure on that last one. I'm not sure if it was Somalia or somebody over there. Anyway. Wait, why did we do this? I thought I had it set up. Fuck me. Someone punch me. This is what happens when I'm not as productive as I want to be because I'm laying down because my stomach is angry. Just lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, so we're going to go backwards slightly. At least, I thought we were done with Western Hemisphere news, but we got one that somehow snuck its way in here. Canadian military deploys to Jamaica to train troops ahead of Haiti mission. Let me say that again. The Canadian military has deployed troops to Jamaica ahead of the Haiti mission. We've been talking about this for what feels like weeks now, and saying that the West really, really, really wanted to go in there with troops, and so instead of that, they've decided to go to Jamaica to get some brown people to do it, and so they're going to give them some training. Great stuff, Canada. Good fucking God. This is how I feel right now, okay? This is me. This is me.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
We're hearing that the Canadian Armed Forces have deployed about 70 soldiers to Jamaica. They will help prepare military personnel from the Caribbean for a mission to Haiti. CBC's Hilary Johnstone is here with the latest. So, Hilary, you've been following the developments this morning. Can you tell us about the latest here?
Hi there, Jacqueline. Yes, we are getting word from Canada's National Defence Ministry, or department, I should say, that yesterday some 70 members of the Canadian Armed Forces deployed to Jamaica, and they are going to be going there to train some 330 military personnel from a couple of different countries. So from Jamaica, from Belize, and then also from the Bahamas. They're going to be training them in peacekeeping, but then also in combat first aid practices as well. All of this is part of more than $80 million that was announced back a number of months ago. This was in January from Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly. That money, the intention here was to support that Kenyan-led but UN-backed, UN-authorized multinational security support.
UN-authorized, but, not a lot of account being taken for the Haitian people or any
mission to Haiti to try and restore order, because of course in recent weeks.
Do I have Pepto? I do not have Pepto. It doesn't even feel like that. It's like my side. It's like the side of the left side of my fucking torso just hurts. I don't know what I did. Don't know what I did, chat.
recent months, the security situation there has really been deteriorating and things have only been getting worse. Now, originally, that Kenyan-led multinational security support mission was supposed to deploy sometime in early 2024. Here we are, of course, staring down the month of April. Now, some context here, some backstory on this. This has been undergoing intense scrutiny back in Kenya, both intense public and legal scrutiny as well. There have been a number of legal challenges launched against this. We've heard from the opposition leader in Kenya saying, what will the president do if some of those Kenyan-led security forces return to that country in body bags? So concern here that this could be a very, very dangerous mission for some of those Kenyan security officials. So yes, members of the Canadian Armed Forces have now deployed to Jamaica to try and help with training. But in terms of what happens next here with that Kenyan-led, UN-backed mission, still a lot of questions here about the timeline and what that might look like.
Now, Hillary, within Haiti, some of these armed gangs have been saying that the violence could get worse in the next few days. But that one gang leader that we referenced, known as Barbecue, he is supposedly claiming he's open to laying down.
The guy's got a regular name, but the Western media refuses to like call him by his name, which is Jimmy. Jimmy sounds way too nice though, so they gotta call him Barbecue. That sounds scary as fuck, okay? Ah, God. I'm not saying that the gangs haven't been doing some bad stuff, but there needs to be a genuine effort to get democracy happening in Haiti.
Arms, but what would that depend on?
Well, he said...
Oh, you're heading off to bed, AC? Good. Good to see you. Hope you get some sleep. Sorry I missed your stream this morning.
That would depend on him having a seat at the table as part of these negotiations. He says that if members of the international community are going to sit down and decide what Haiti's future should look like, then he wants to be there, possibly even with some sort of role in a future Haitian government. But remember, just earlier this week, the UN came out with a new report saying that conditions in Haiti were cataclysmic, and also said that some of these armed gangs, like the one that Jimmy Cherizier, known as Barbecue, is a part of, that they are really not helping the situation, that they are using extreme violence, that they are using sexual abuse in order to try and control members of Haiti's population, to try and maintain power there. So questions about what this is going to look like. We spoke with one expert who says that he's not convinced this is the way to go.
Jimmy Cherizier, Barbecue, I mean, he's definitely the most media savvy and the one most accessible to journalists in terms of the leaders of these armed groups, but he's far from the most powerful one. And these groups also have a really...
Sounds like it needs teriyaki and pineapple. Wow. Wow. I'm not sure whether or not to give this to you for that one. But here you go.
A history of being extremely fractious and violent with one another. So I think the idea that you could get all these guys to agree on some sort of modus vivendi in terms of how to deal...
Absolutely, to life. I'm getting very concerned about that myself. It does feel like democracy in Haiti is becoming less and less of a possibility, with Western forces essentially moving in vicariously through the Bahamians and the Jamaicans. And it's not good. The books are stressing you out. Yeah, his bookcases are like looking like they're gonna fucking fall apart. Thankfully, we don't have to watch any more of that. Okay, back to Africa. Somehow we went... I think in my mind it's because I was thinking of like Kenya and like how they were trying to get Kenyan forces in there and all that shit, and like it somehow made it into this part of the list. Fuck me. This is a piece from 9 hours ago from Channel 4 News entitled "Somali Pirates: Highest Number of Attacks in Over a Decade." Go web go.
This is Ail, once known as the pirate capital of Somalia. Today, this ancient...
By the way, I don't know if anybody in here hasn't liked it yet, but we're only 3 likes away from 30, so if any of the new faces that I think I saw just come through here, make sure to like that. Make sure to like the stream so that we can get that 3rd support character, aka Angela Lansbury, aka Jennifer... Oh shit, what's her? Jennifer something. From Murder, She Wrote.
Port Town is popular, attracting social media users who want to share its beautiful scenery. But its infamous past is coming back. Somali pirates are returning to the sea, armed and determined. This is their latest attack from northeastern Somalia. A group of 20 armed men in a small fishing boat chase a large cargo ship. The group swiftly board the vessel and take control of the Bangladeshi-owned MV Abdullah. A decade ago, Somali pirates became a threat to global trade and a money-making machine from the millions asked in ransoms to release ships and their crew, and an international task force, including NATO, managed to almost eradicate piracy here. Now, an economic downturn, the lack of jobs, and illegal fishing off the coast here, piracy is making a comeback. The residents of Ale resent its return, but see it as unavoidable.
waxa weeye burcadbadeedu horta wax fiican maahan waxaanu ku noolahay badda waaye badda waxaan dhiganaynaa haddii nala ka qaato nala ku soo duulay oo duulimaad uu yimid dee dabcan ninkii wixiisa la qaatay wuu daynayaa oo badda tindaynayaa waxa inuu iska eriyo Soomaaliya baa hawshaasu ka bilaabatay inay badda intay soo galaanin badda xaddaaf intay isaga soo galaan weliba ay gurtaaniin qalabka sanadka
Okay. Well, I just wanted to watch that just to keep everybody apprised of the things that are happening in the world, as that seemed like an important statistic, as well as to get some context, because I felt that interview right there was very interesting. I didn't quite understand that. And if you didn't quite understand what he was getting at, it's that the fishing waters around Somalia are apparently being infringed upon by other countries and peoples. So they are essentially claiming that they are retaliating for the fact that they don't have food now because their people are fishing in their water. Which definitely does provide context to the situation. Not saying that necessarily you know, I would condone everything that the pirates are doing, but I get the sentiment. Definitely get the sentiment. Okay, what's next? Okay, moving from Somalia to the Sudan. Why did I just call it the Sudan? That is so antiquated. Alright. This is the United Nations from 2 days ago. U.S. on Sudan. Media stakeout. Got old Linda... what's her name? Linda, what's her name? Linda Thomas. Linda Thomas Greenfield, I think is what her name is. This her talking on Sudan. And before we let her talk, I'm just going to point something out to you. I just want you to imagine, because I think we've all become more and more familiar with Mrs. Thomas here, or Mrs. Thomas Greenfield, but whatever her name is. It's not that important. She doesn't deserve a whole lot of respect from us, considering how she's conducted herself at the UN. At least she hasn't started an actual riot there, but I just want you to take into account all the sort of things and stuff that she's done over the past 6 months or so, which is when she's been generally in the limelight. Think about what she's done and or said about Gaza and Israel. And then listen to how she describes the situation in Sudan. Now, I'm not going to say that her description is inaccurate, but let's just let her speak for herself a little bit.
Make sure I have the right remarks.
Oh my God, you're fucking quiet as shit.
Are you guys ready? Good afternoon, everyone. We gather during the holy month of Ramadan, a period of reverence and renewal for Muslims everywhere. And this is a particularly painful Ramadan for Muslim people across the world, in Afghanistan and Syria, and Xinjiang, Myanmar, Gaza, and as we are here to talk about today, Sudan. Today, instead of gathering for bounty...
Hold on, we're gonna listen to this one at fucking 1.25 for sure. Fuck this lady.
Iftars, some 18 million Sudanese people face acute food insecurity. Children are starving, wasting, and dying. Far from their homes and their communities, millions of refugees are praying in overcrowded camps. Clean water is sparse, measles, cholera, and other preventable diseases have spread. And then there are still those in Sudan, people in Darfur, who wake up not to the call of prayer, but to the sound of gunfire, of shelling, of cries for help. A few weeks ago, the Council came together to adopt a resolution calling for a Ramadan ceasefire. That resolution has thus far been ignored. Nearly a year since this crisis began, the situation in Sudan remains catastrophic, and it is only getting worse. Right now, just 5% of the UN's humanitarian appeal for Sudan has been met. Already, the World Food Program has had to cut assistance to over 7 million people in Chad and South Sudan. This includes 1.2 million refugees, people like those I met in eastern Chad back in September who struggled to find enough food even then. More than just lacking food, though, humanitarian workers are simply unable to deliver it to those in need. Since the start of this conflict, they've been on the ground, often putting their lives at risk to save people in Sudan, and yet combatants on both sides of the war have undermined them at every turn. That includes the Sudanese Armed Forces, which has impeded the major humanitarian aid crossing from Chad into Darfur. This is literally a matter of life and death. At the Zamzam camp in North Darfur, a child dies every 2 hours. Experts...
Okay, I think that's enough of her, but do you hear the tone? Do you hear it? Do you hear the words she's saying? They're all completely accurate. I'm not here to say that she's wrong. I'm here to say, where is all this accuracy coming from? And where is all this, condemnation of bad stuff coming from? It's like, I've been listening to you and/or like losing my mind at watching you not vote the right way in the UN. And now suddenly you're trying to tell me that Sudan is genocide. Well, yeah, it is. And we should probably do something about that. But while watching her and listening to her do that speech, all I can think of to myself is of like those votes, like the most recent one where they abstained. Where we abstained from, and granted, sure, she is technically just doing the bidding of U.S. Foreign policy heads. But I don't know. You could always quit. If you're just a puppet, is that job really, is that the job for you? If it is, then we got a problem. Okay, what's next? Okay, moving on here to but I just feel like I'm taking crazy pills listening to her talk about stuff. This is me. That's me when I hear what she's saying. Okay, this is from the AP from a day ago, where a Russian journalist, what's her name again? Evelyn? I forget her name. Russian journalist who covered Alexei Navalny's trials is now jailed in Moscow for her coverage.
A Moscow court has ordered a Russian journalist who covered the trials of late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny to remain in custody pending an investigation.
Almost did this again.
And trial. Antonina Favorskaya is accused of producing and editing videos and publications for Navalny's Foundation for Fighting Corruption, which has been outlawed as extremist by Russian authorities.
The court decided to choose a preventative measure of restraint for the accused. She does look like she needs to be restrained. She looks like a danger to society.
I mean, this woman is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen.
The satisfaction of the defense request to select a preventative measure of restraint in the form of house arrest, a ban on certain actions, to postpone the trial and extend the period of detention. The decision can be appealed to the Moscow City Court within 3 days.
The charges are punishable by up to 6 years in prison. As she was led out of court by police, Favorskaya shouted out that she was being tried for an article related to allegations that Alexei Navalny was tortured.
Jesus Christ. Russia. What a place, huh? Just reporting on somebody's trial gets you house arrest. Huh. Interesting. Wait, what's terrifying? Did she terrify you, Shade Dragon? Well, see, this is why she's going in house arrest, because she's very scary. Honestly, I think she's kind of cute. And the opposite of scary. More like based. Who does a heart symbol at a bail hearing? Come on. That's badass. That's based. That's based as fuck. That's based. Okay. Oh, chat. I'm just getting this in now. Oh, wow. Oh, this is important. Okay, hold on, chat. Hold on, chat. Can we make this happen right now? Okay. Well, I'm getting word from one of our producers here that we have finally gotten a hold of one of the representatives of the elephants in Africa. We all watched this video yesterday. Let's just refresh all of your memories with what happened. Hold on, let me just bring this video up. Okay. Alright, let's watch this. Let's watch this terrifying footage we saw yesterday.
And a wild safari standoff caught on camera is going viral. Tourists in South Africa got more than they bargained for when an elephant attacked their safari truck, nearly flipping it over. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has more.
This terrifying moment caught on camera. Frightened tourists ducking between seats during a tense standoff between a safari driver and an angry elephant at Pilanesberg National Park in South Africa. The bull elephant lifting the vehicle several feet in the air twice before letting it drop.
Okay, well, Chad, hold on, where is it? Yeah. Okay, chat. Whoa. What's happening here? There we go. Well, joining us here for the first time ever is a representative of the elephants. Hold on, do we, got Skype working right now? There we go. So yeah, there we go. We got Dr. Dumbo Elefante III here with us on the line. What do you got to say for us here, Dumbo? Wait, hold on. I think we've crossed lines here somehow. Oh, there we go. There we go. Connection's good. Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, you know, it's very good to meet you, Dr. Elefanta. Yes, no, it's just great to have somebody of your stature, if you will, forgive the pun, coming here onto this show of mine here to discuss with my listeners the grave nature of your current plight. Please tell us a little bit more, would you please? Oh wow, that's I see. So you're telling me that humans are ruining your ecosystem, not just with the pillaging of natural resources, but also with all sorts of nonsensical safaris and hunting, destroying your pristine environment. Well, we are, and so what is it that you want? What can we do to keep the elephants from uprising against the humans? So just chill, just stop. You're saying stop doing that. Okay, well, you are a doctor after all, and you know, I'm just a man. Oh, I see. So you're saying that if we continue down the path that we're going down right now, it's going to destroy the entire ecosystem, not just for you, but for us? Wow, you're so wise. I didn't realize this. Well, I just want to appreciate. I know you have very limited time and all that, but I just want to say thank you again for coming on to the show, and I will spread your message to the humans. Once again, Dr. Dumbo Elefante III, everyone. Okay. Well, chat, that was a rough interview for me. I'm a little shook. I don't know about you, but an elephant uprising sounds terrifying. Do I take it now? I think I do. Yeah. What do we do? Wait, what? Oh, we have so much other stuff to do too. All right. Okay. I need a quick break after that interview here, Chad, but I will be right back. However, while I take this break, you can hang out here by the pool. Now, if you would like to somehow make your experience even more galactic, well, you have some options. You could like the stream. You could subscribe to the channel. You could get more people involved in this situation. Or, if you want to be the most possible, the most galactic that you possibly can, well, click the link in the stream to become a Galactic Patreon member for just a few dollars a month. A myriad of benefits awaits.
Rid of the Second Amendment. Rid of the Second Amendment.
He looks good, and he looks hard.
All right, chat, I am back. Hope you all enjoyed that surprise interview there with Dr. Elefante III. That was it's a real treat. Wasn't sure if we're gonna be able to make that one happen. He is an elephant, after all. And yes, I'm actually multilingual. I speak Orca and Elephant and French, a little Latin, a couple other languages that are in the bag too. I'm just gonna keep secret from now as like a Easter egg. Let's see. Domine Patri. The doctor was great. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. It was difficult with my feeling shitty all day. Try and network that interview into happening, but luckily I got lucky. Alright, chat. Well, on to the Middle East. A situation that has not gotten better yet. I'm gonna keep saying yet as a way of being hopeful. So, let's start off in Lebanon, where at least 4 United Nations military observers have been injured as of 18 hours ago.
We're going to begin with breaking news coming out of southern Lebanon, where at least 4 United Nations military observers have been injured. The UN personnel were traveling in the town of Rumesh when they were hit. The Israeli military has issued a statement denying any responsibility for the incident. We're going to bring in Zaina Khodr in Beirut on the phone. Just talk us through what's been...
Oh, chat. This is ridiculous. Oh, God.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Like, what in the fuck is going on? How can they even pretend How can they even pretend like it's not them? We don't know anything about that. But UN observers in Lebanon? That wasn't us. Not us, Israel. We're us? No, we've never attacked any UN observers before.
Happening, Zena.
Well, as you can imagine, circumstances are still unclear. The UN peacekeeping mission has still not issued an official statement regarding the circumstances behind this incident in southern Lebanon. Ramesh is a village just along the border. What we understand is that UN military observers were on patrol and they were injured, up to 4, among them a Lebanese translator. I'm also understanding that they were on foot patrol when this happened. Now, we do not know whether or not their vehicle, or if they were indeed deliberately targeted, or whether there was military activity close by and a shell landed close by, or whether this was a deliberate message to a force which has happened in the past. So the circumstances are still unclear. Undoubtedly, another, dangerous development in a simmering conflict, which is now in its 6th month, between Israel and Hezbollah. But this is not the first time UN peacekeepers have come under fire in the past 6 months. In November, a UN patrol was hit by Israeli gunfire at the time in Aitarun, another border village. And at the time, there were no casualties. And the UN issued a statement, condemning the incident and saying that...
Oh, Del Sol Verde with a very good point. It's probably South African Iranian rebels.
Arguably the greatest work of nonfiction of the 20th century.
All sides should respect peacekeepers. So for the time being, what we understand is that there have been injuries. This was a patrol with UN military observers who work alongside the UN peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon. And we are waiting for the statement from the UN peacekeeping mission on the circumstances behind this incident.
Zena, you were saying that these are observers that work alongside, on the military side, work alongside the UN mission that's there. Just talk us through, give us some context about the UN mission in Lebanon.
Well, these UN observers, this is a truce supervision organization. Their job is to monitor borders. They've been deployed on both sides of the border since 1949. But they have a very different mandate from the UN peacekeeping force, UNIFIL, which has thousands of troops deployed along the border. That force has been in Lebanon since 1978. Their mandate has repeatedly changed over the years.
This is completely unrelated to what's happening in the video. I just saw this comment just now. I'm creeping up on Letterhack, but in a good way. Can you expound on that, Gabby? I have no idea what you're talking about.
In 2006, their mandate...
Is it because my interviews are just getting so good? With orcas and elephants and such?
Was updated following the last between Israel and Hezbollah. They were given the task to help the Lebanese army extend its authority across southern Lebanon, which means that they were supposed to create a zone up to 20 kilometers deep that has no presence of armed men or weapons outside the state's control. Now, that has not happened, and this force really has been facing challenges. First of all, Lebanon blames Israel for violating the resolution by not respecting the country's sovereignty and not withdrawing from contested points along the border. But
okay, I think that clears it up for us a little bit, at least, or at least gives us some context to what's happening up there in Lebanon. Because Israel's not just in Gaza or the West Bank. They're attacking everybody. It's literally insane. Okay. Moving forward onto this one. U.S. greenlights new round of arms shipments to Israel. This is from 12 hours ago. ABC News. We got two different pieces to talk about this one here. This is frustrating as fuck.
The latest U.S. arms shipments to Israel, F-35 fighter jets and bombs in the pipeline as the Biden administration faces some criticism for the ongoing support. ABC's Britt Clennett has the latest from Tel Aviv. Britt, good morning. We're talking about billions of dollars.
Yeah, good morning, Janae. President Biden greenlighting billions of dollars worth of weapons for Israel. That's despite tension between the White House and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over a military offensive in southern Gaza. Now, the Washington Post first reporting the new arms transfer, which, according to the report, includes MK-84 2,000-pound bombs. Citing a U.S. official, the report also said the State Department last week approved the transfer of 25 F-35 fighter jets and engines. Now, this is a move to fulfill long-standing weapons deals.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I can't believe this is happening right now. When I saw this go across my desk earlier today, I was literally just like my mouth was agape. I was blown away by this, with everything that's been happening, with all of the protests, with, you know, to do this literally on Land Day. Bad taste, super bad, the worst taste. It literally, I mean, beyond like you know that I on like basically all grounds object to this, but I'm just talking about in terms of just in terms of PR, which is like the lowest of the low sorts of ways to analyze this, I feel like, but for real, like come the fuck on. Why today? Why we couldn't wait a week? And like I think we all know that the real criticism of this is, are you fucking kidding me right now? I feel like this. That's my brain right now when I hear that information.
That were signed off by Congress years ago, some as far back as 2008. The United States provides $3.8 billion in military assistance every year to Israel, but cracks in the relationship they have been showing, mostly after the U.S. refused to veto a UN Security Council resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Netanyahu then called off a visit to D.C. by a delegation that was meant to discuss Israel's ground invasion of Rafah. That meeting, it's now being rescheduled.
Okay, let's listen to some people who make slightly more sense on this issue. This is on the exact same topic, but from Al Jazeera. Wait, no, sorry, but from Channel 4. So it's slightly... Actually, now I think about it, no. I totally forgot. No, that's a different video. But this is on the same topic. Billions of dollars worth of bombs and fighter jets reportedly transferred from U.S. to the Israeli military. Channel 4 News, 9 hours ago. Definitely taking crazy pills.
Well, American officials have confirmed that they have signed off on the transfer of more than 2,300 bombs and 25 F-35 fighter jets to Israel. Now, these transfers were approved by Congress some years ago, but they're being implemented now. Officials are keen to point out that they are not giving Israel everything that it is asking for. But I think it's pretty clear from this that President Biden's domestic political calculation is still that it is better for him to help Israel rather than hinder it. And the quid pro quo that the Americans hope that they are getting is that the Israelis may agree to delay this long-awaited offensive on the town of Rafah in southern Gaza, where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are sheltering from the bombing. But given that Israel says there are 4 Hamas battalions hiding in
they're just there. they're hiding. They're hiding in the refugee camp. So we got to take down the camp. Got to take down the camp. We got to take all the people, put them in the desert, and then we'll have to go to the desert because the desert will be the problem. It's a bad plan, actually. Now I think about it.
Using civilians as human shields. How can we be that Israel will wait?
So the bombing goes on and the weapons transfers go on. So does the humanitarian aid shortage, right? How acute is that?
Well, American officials are saying that just under 200 trucks a day on average are getting into Gaza.
which is only 40% of what is needed. So not enough. Okay, fuck it. I forgot that this video sucked as much as that one before it. But just remember, 35 F-15s, did they say? F-35s. Too many. 0 is the correct number. Okay, this is the one from Al Jazeera. Although I can't remember if they touch on this or not, but let's watch this. This is from 5 hours ago, where the UK's government lawyers say Israel is breaking international law in Gaza.
Now, the British government has reportedly received advice from its own lawyers that Israel has breached international humanitarian law in Gaza, but it has failed to disclose this publicly. For more on this, let's speak to Jeffrey Nice, who's a human rights lawyer who prosecuted former Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic and is joining us from Canterbury. Thank you very much for your time. So, the lawyers of the British government themselves, according to this report, have told it that Israel is breaking international law, but they haven't made this public. Are you surprised at all, first of all, by this revelation?
First of all, I'm not at all surprised that the government would seek advice from its lawyers. It would have to do so as soon as it became public that many commentators, but more important, many people in authority in the United Nations were concerned about Israel's military attack not being proportionate. Proportionality is what's required for an attack to be lawful. So they were bound to seek legal advice. Given the weight of opinion,
the fact that they've ignored, it would seem, this advice, is that surprising? Is that unusual?
Can you repeat the question, please?
The fact that they received this advice from their own lawyers, but it would seem have chosen to ignore it, is that unusual? Is that surprising?
We don't know that yet. I have not seen the advice. This is a report which refers to an account of the advice. Let us assume, first of all, there would be an advice. Would the advice deal with the question of proportionality and lawfulness of the attack? Yes, it would. Is the advice likely to have found that there could be or was lack of proportionality and therefore criminality? It certainly could have reached that conclusion, given the majority opinion among those, not me, but people close to the war and with real authority from the United Nations and elsewhere. It would be unsurprising if the advice gave that conclusion. If the advice did give that conclusion, and if the government acted without regard to that advice, that would be very concerning, not just to those who are lawyers acting in an international environment, but it'd be very concerning to the public. The public's interest in this war has been very substantially aroused. Emotions, not that emotions are very valuable, but emotions are pretty high. And the public would like to know, and I would say is entitled to know, what the advice said, this way or that way.
Right. So concerning, you say.
Okay, that's as much as I wanted us to watch of that, but I thought it was important for us to think about that that context. If in fact the United Kingdom's government did receive information from its lawyers by way of the UN and the ICJ and other accounts that there was actually a genocide happening before they I think they've suspended aid at this point, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, actually. Who suspended aid? It was Canada, I think, wasn't it? It wasn't the UK. So it would implicate the United Kingdom in the genocide, according to the rules. Actually, maybe we should listen to more of this, because this was actually a decent interview. This guy's, like, I mean, he's very much by the book. It's a little annoying to some degree, but it's also a very informative interview, if I recall correctly. Let's watch like another minute of this. I can't remember. I just watched too much stuff, and it's I suck. Where are we? Yeah, one more minute of this won't hurt anybody.
About the legal implications of this by continuing to sell arms to Israel? Is the British government complicit in the crimes that are being committed? And
FG got stuck behind the stream. That sucks. It's annoying how YouTube sends people back rather than just, you know, putting them the right spot.
Is the British government complicit in the crimes that are being committed? And you know, if it is the case, could there also be then a case against the British government at an international court?
If any government has received clear advice, what's happening by the combatant party is unlawful, then in providing weapons for an unlawful activity, it runs the risk of being found to be complicit. Might it get round that risk by saying, oh, well, you can have these weapons, but you can only use them in certain circumstances? Difficult, and we understand from the latest alleged provision of arms by America, it's not using that get-out clause. So, yes, there is a real risk that a government providing arms to a party engaged in unlawful warfare could find itself complicit. And that's not very surprising. If you know your neighbor is about to commit a crime and wants a gun and you hand them the gun, well, of course, you're guilty with the neighbor. You can't get out of it. So it's a...
Yeah, that was a full minute and a half, so there we go. I feel like that wrapped it up nicely. Elephant? What? If an elephant stubs its toe, what do you call it? A large tow truck? Really? Really, though? That's not even getting a clap for me. That was... wow. This is from a day ago. Democracy Now! I think this is the only second Democracy Now! video we've watched today, which is, I feel, decent in terms of my average Democracy Now! videos. Oh, this title is depressing. Like, quote-unquote, like lying in a coffin. UNICEF spokesperson warns of devastating toll on Gaza's children.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In Gaza, the death toll has now topped 32,600, including 14,000 children, with over 75,000 people wounded. At least 31 people, including 27 children, have already died of malnutrition and dehydration. For more, we go to Rafah in Gaza, where we're joined by James Elder, spokesperson for UNICEF, which stands for the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. Welcome to Democracy Now!, James Elder. Thank you so much for joining us as you stand outside a hospital in Rafah. Talk about where you've been in Gaza and what you found.
Amy, hi there. Look, I've been south to north, north to south. If we start here in the south, in Rafah, this is a city that's normally 300,000 people and it's now about 1.5 million. So you can imagine the congestion. I'm looking now at a field hospital. The number of times, Amy, I'll walk around and just think, this place feels like a war zone. Now, of course, it is a war zone. So if I'm in a hospital, you're talking about being in a hospital, and it is absolutely heaving with people. So the corridors are now no longer corridors, they are tented off, people using blankets, whatever they can. Thousands and thousands of people trying to take refuge in hospitals, and of course thousands and thousands of people with the wounds of war in hospitals. So here, Rafah, this is a city of children, Amy. This is where most people from Gaza have now fled, with that very real fear of an offensive here. When you go further north, to the very north, as I've been to Jabalia and Gaza City, well, firstly you see the devastation. I'm seeing, Amy, entire cities turn to rubble, more or less, things I've never seen before. Every street, when I go with people from that city, drivers who grew up in that city and who simply don't know how to...
Wait, my opening comic relief today? Today? Did I even do comic relief today? Did I do anything funny? I don't recall being funny at all today. Maybe I'm just having some sort of weird amnesia, but maybe, are you talking about a different day?
Around anymore, Amy, because they've lost those landmarks to direct them. And then you see the nutritional status. Those children you spoke about. More children died overnight in the last couple of days, dehydration, malnutrition. I see those families, Amy. I see mothers in tears crouched over cots with children and babies who are paper thin. Thousands of people on the street doing that universal sign. Food now. And that's some sense north to south. Whatever it is, it's desperation and exhaustion. People have done everything. They break their last piece of bread to share it. They have 4 or 5 families stay with them, but I've sat with families this morning that I can speak to. They're exhausted, and yeah, they're confused as to why they don't have the world's attention.
I wanted to get your response to the latest news, James Elder.
I've got no hearing, guys.
The International Court of Justice has ordered Israel to ensure unhindered aid can get into Gaza. The legally binding order was issued after a request by South Africa, which brought the genocide case to Israel in January. The court noted in its latest order, Palestinians in Gaza are no longer facing only a risk of famine, but famine is setting in. The judges also cited UN data, which finds at least 31 people, including 27 children, having already died of malnutrition and dehydration. The court is ordering Israel to submit a report within a month showing how it's implemented the order. The significance of this, as the UN warns famine is imminent in northern Gaza, and the number of children who've been affected, James.
I think we know the significance. It's fucking horrifying. So we're gonna move to the next video. It's also significant in the sense that Israel is being pressured on all sides now with some very real fucking shit that's going on. However, will they succumb to any of that? Who the fuck knows? Who knows? I genuinely hope that they start really letting aid in. It has been going on way too long. It's just too long. I think it was like over a month ago now that we were looking at a video of somebody from the UN who got into Gaza. They were saying that it was already just a humongous problem. Jessica Fletcher, please. Jessica Fletcher. Okay. Hold on. Hold the phone. I'll do it right now before I even switch videos. Jessica frickin' Fletcher in the his use. Okay. You got her. You got her. This one is this one sucks, honestly. And it's not even like, you know what kind of shit we watch on this fucking stream. There's some stuff that is genuinely tragic that we look at all the time. This one's more tragic internally. This one's gonna make you feel sad on the, well, it all makes you feel, but it's different. It's a different kind of sad. But this is from the United Nations themselves from a day ago. Gaza's children's shattered dreams. Okay.
I'm a senior in my last year of school, so I was really preparing for it. I was really excited to, you know, it's like my first step on my journey, the door to success in life. But you know, now all my dreams, all my hopes are dead.
According to a UN partner report, of the 563 schools in Gaza, 212 suffered attacks. 106 of them are in areas designated for evacuation by the Israeli military. The school was destroyed. I was studying in a new school. We used to study, play, and have fun there. A high trend of attacks on school facilities has worsened the already dire humanitarian situation and impacted the psychosocial well-being of children. I miss the normal days when we used to wake up and have breakfast and meet our friends, read a little, see a teacher. Normally I used to go to school. I used to go out whenever I wanted. I used to go out with my mom to help her. I used to do everything I wanted. My brother Salman was killed in the war. He was the best and most handsome boy, but we live in a different place. At least 53 schools have been totally destroyed since the conflict erupted. In near 9. Sorry, Jen. Compose myself. Hey, okay. And a near 9% increase in attacks on school premises since February, shattering the hopes and dreams of thousands of children. My dream was to become a journalist. That was the future I have dreamt of since I was little. You're still little. I hope that we return to our homes and that life would be normal again and we could go back to school. Well, yep, like I said, chat, sad in a different way. That was tough. That was tough. I mean, these kids have no activities at all to do. They're just, think about being a child when you're supposed to be learning things and becoming like a full human, and all you have to do is be scared. That's literally your only occupation, is be scared and to be hungry and to avoid being killed by bombs and guns. Yeah, it's depraved. It is depraved. Shit, how did this... my list got deorganized. I don't know what I did, but this was supposed to be further back. But we're gonna watch this one. U.S. to send more bombs and warplanes to Israel, sources says from Reuters. I can't remember if this is the one that... It doesn't really matter. We're just gonna watch it because it's in the list. And we were supposed to watch it earlier. Wait. Why did that restart this one? There we go.
The US has authorized the transfer of billions of dollars worth of bombs and fighter jets to Israel in recent days. Two sources familiar with the effort say that's despite the growing concerns Washington has expressed about an anticipated Israeli military offensive in Rafah, where more than 1 million displaced Palestinians are sheltering. Some members of President Joe Biden's party are calling for him to cut US military aid. The new arms packages include more than 1,800 Mk-84 2,000-pound bombs and 500 Mk-82 500-pound bombs, said the sources, who on Friday confirmed a report in the Washington Post.
It's just unbelievable.
Israel faces strong international criticism over its bombing campaign and ground offensive in Gaza, which had killed at least 32,700 people as of Saturday, according to the health ministry in the Hamas-run enclave. The decision on weapons follows a visit to Washington by Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant this week, when he discussed Israel's weapons requirements with US counterparts. Washington gives $3.8 billion in annual military assistance to its longtime ally Israel, which is the leading recipient of US foreign aid. The US has been sending air defenses and munitions, demonstrating how Biden's administration continues to support Israel, despite an increasingly public rift with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Some Democrats and Arab American groups have criticized that support and say it gives Israel a sense of impunity. Biden on Friday acknowledged, quote, the pain being felt by many Arab Americans over the war in Gaza and...
Wow. Well, at least he recognized it. Oh, geez, that's helpful. He noticed it. He noticed it with his eyes, or maybe his ears. Maybe he touched it with his hands? Probably not. It's probably either a visual or audio recognition of the existence of Palestinians. How magnanimous and egalitarian of him. Truly breathtaking. Just idiocy. Okay. Oh, right. I forgot we have a surprise ending today. Not really a surprise. But it's a different sort of ending, I suppose. But one more here before we get to that. BBC News, 15 hours ago. Gazans watch the skies to spot planes dropping U.S. aid.
We start with the war between Israel and Hamas as international pressure mounts for action to address the prospect of imminent famine among Palestinians in Gaza. We're following a number of developments. The US is said to have authorized the transfer of billions of dollars worth of bombs and fighter jets to Israel in recent days. The package, reported by the Washington Post and Reuters, comes despite growing calls for US military aid to be linked to changes in how Israel conducts the war. It's just days after the UN's top court, the International Court of Justice, ordered Israel to allow the unimpeded flow of food aid into Gaza. Israel says UN allegations that it's blocking aid are wholly unfounded. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to send officials to Egypt and Qatar in the coming days for a new round of talks on a possible ceasefire in Gaza. In the past 24 hours, both the UK and the US military have airdropped food supplies into Gaza. Our BBC Middle East correspondent Lucy Williamson was on the US plane.
Aid drops into Gaza are expensive, inefficient and increasingly controversial. These ready-prepared meals from the US Army are being flown more than 1,000 miles from a US airbase in Qatar.
There's plenty of food, just a short drive from Gaza's borders, but this American aid is being flown right across the Middle East.
80 crates of food on board 2 C-17 transport planes, dropped into a population the UN says is on the brink of famine.
It's not perfect. We know that there's upwards of 2 million people who need food on the ground, who are hungry, innocent civilians who didn't ask for this conflict. And we're dropping meals in the tens of thousands, but at least it's something. So does it feel like a drop in the bucket? Maybe a little bit. But if you're a family on the ground who got some of this aid, it can be a lifesaver.
12 people were reported to have drowned.
Yeah, about that. When you're dropping it in the water and people are drowning to go get it, or it's dropping and literally landing on people's heads and they're dying from these sorts of things, it's not that helpful. So just gonna point that out. I mean, look, it's all like there's shit like, actually no, I think some of that is just blown up buildings. It's hard to fucking tell. Everything just looks like, everything around here just looks like a fucking apocalyptic painting.
This week trying to retrieve packages from the sea, 6 others crushed in a stampede.
What are you doing to try and mitigate those risks?
Literally everything we can. So I know you spoke with the colonel earlier. We use a chute that falls.
Literally everything aside from the most obvious thing, which would be letting aid in by way of, you know, I mean, there's a U.S. military base in Israel. Okay, let's not forget that. We could just go to the border of Gaza and say, "Hey, aid in, please," and we could just end it right there. Like at this point, boots on the ground. Like fuck it. Like what is that really any better than just flying plane after plane over Gaza, killing people with aid? No, it's not. I mean, it is. Wait, how did I frame that question? You get what I'm saying. Fuck these planes. Let's do something else.
Slower rate to give the Gazans more time to see the parachutes and make sure that they're out of the way. We also have assets overhead that clear the drop zone, so we will not drop if there's any sort of groupings of people there.
After 3 hours in the air, the ramp opens on Gaza's devastated coastline.
Every one of these flights is a massive carrier plane in the air for 3 fucking hours, okay? Let's think about like the environmental implications of this right here, beyond the obvious. But this is such a dumb waste of time and energy and resources.
Just open the hatch, ready to release the aid down into Gaza. There's no organised distribution system down there. There it goes.
There's no organized distribution system down there. Whose fault is that? I wonder. But there are trucks with aid on them, which would distribute better than throwing them into... Literally, look, you can't even see land from this shot. They're just dropping it directly into the fucking water like a bunch of fucking animals. Okay? Hate to call humans animals, but what the fuck? You didn't think that through? You're a human being with logical, reasonable thought, aren't you? Or are you a freaking idiot? Okay, keeping it together. This is not me. It's definitely not how I'm feeling right now. Okay. Well, because it is now officially for me and for almost everybody in the world, minus a couple of time zones left. Now officially, I'm going to say now officially twice and 3 times. There we go. It's Easter, everybody. So if you are the sort of person who celebrates Easter, congratulations, you made it to this Easter. I don't think that's the traditional way to celebrate Easter, by congratulating people. You might be able to tell I don't spend a lot of time in churches. But I figured we would discuss Easter by way of a couple of different things. First, wait, where is it? Why is this in the wrong order? Okay, hold on one second. I gotta refresh some shit. But we got a couple of different ways that we are going to discuss the holiday of Easter.
We start with the...
No, we don't start with that. No, stop that. Okay, so this first video we're going to look at actually, no, yeah, let's do it this way. This made sense. This was fine. Okay, this first one is of Pope Francis, who has skipped Good Friday event to preserve his health, according to the Vatican. Now you might ask me, why is this important? Well, I'll explain it in a second. Hold on. Whoops. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard about this, but I think maybe we've talked about it already on the stream, but the Pope's health has been waning recently, which I think is a real concern. As you can see, there's a great number of people out here. Okay, that's in bad taste. I didn't see that on my first watching. I don't think that means the same thing in Italy as it does in America, but that symbol is, yeah. Oh, is it muted? It is muted. So I've muted it and ruined this video for everybody. So I'm sorry for that.
Un falso processo. Ma perché non reclami?
Più di quanto io mi ami.
Parla il mio cuore, Gesù.
Okay. Now, wait, this is not in the right order still. Hold on. Okay, now the reason that I bring this up, okay, is not because I am overly religious, but this Pope, Pope Francis, he's the woke Pope, okay? We all know this. We've heard it from I don't know how many different people, but Pope Francis is the woke Pope. And I'd prefer the woke Pope to, I don't know, the Pope of old. Because the old popes actually as it turns out, sucked a lot more than this Pope. And I don't mean that in some sort of a homophobic way. I just mean in the sort of metaphorical sucking, sort of being, just being bad, you know, whether it was literal genocides and other things that got involved in. I mean, we're going way back now if we're going to talk genocide, but you know what I'm saying. The Roman Catholic Church has not been a force for good necessarily, but it does have a great deal of influence around the world, and so for that reason, I do find it important that we at least manage to keep the woke Pope. You know, if we're gonna have any Pope, okay, because I'd personally be like, maybe just skip having a Pope entirely. But since I'm not able to in any way affect that, I don't think, I'm just gonna say it. You know, I'm pro woke Pope. And on that same topic, let's look at this video, which was, we're not gonna watch this whole thing, but this is an interview that old what's his name did. I forget this guy's name. PBD, Patrick Butt Davis something. Yeah, so this is on the Valuetainment podcast here, where he had Bishop Mari Emanuel. I don't know who that is, but apparently he's a person that exists. This was 3 months ago. Satan has engulfed the churches, quote unquote. Bishop Mari Emanuel reacts to the woke Pope. Now, I'm pretty sure that this guy is an Orthodox bishop. If I'm not mistaken, PBD is Armenian. I think Armenians are Orthodox. Orthodox. That's that's an oxymoron. They are Orthodox Christians, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Let's listen to this fun stuff. Satan has engulfed the churches. Oh God!
What do you think about that part, where the leaders of many of these churches are caving to being too tolerant and accepting of everything, and let anybody? And I mean, the Pope just had a group of transgenders over at the. What do you call it?
For luncheon? A luncheon?
And then he's saying, hey, we need...
What the fuck, dude? I forgot how stupid this was. Hold on. Listen to that again. That made no sense at all.
Everything. And let anybody... And I mean, the Pope just had a group of transgenders over at the... Everything.
That's it.
What do you think about that part, where the leaders of many of these churches are caving to being too tolerant and accepting of everything, and let anybody... And I mean, the Pope just had a group of transgenders over at the...
Oh, no.
What do you call it?
For luncheon? A luncheon?
This is Patrick Butt Davis right now, when he hears about transgender people meeting with the Pope. Yeah, he's losing it inside right now when he hears that the Pope likes or just tolerates transgender people in his presence.
And then he's saying, hey, we need to be asking theologians to demasculize the Catholic Church. He urges religions to unite against environmental devastation.
Oh no, not environmental devastation. Oh God, that's...
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Weird things that he is saying, which is let's be more tolerant, let's be more tolerant, let's be more tolerant.
Oh God, not tolerance.
Do you think that could be one of the reasons why the church isn't growing the way that it used to be?
Absolutely. The Lord Jesus...
I'm sorry, is Alex Jones destroying your earballs? I'm sorry. I can turn him down. Is he very loud? Or is it just the voice of Alex Jones that's bothering you?
If we were to compare him to any other religious figure, I just want to come...
By the way, not to make fun of anybody's religion, but is it just me, or is it not weird that this guy has literally got a cross in his hand for this entire interview? What's that doing? Is there like a vampire in the room or something? Is PBD a vampire? Oh, maybe it's that Vin guy. He does kind of look like a vampire who needs to poop. He's a vampire who really needs to poop.
To this point where you said Islam is growing and Christianity is not. If we were to compare, even though there is no comparison, but let us compare them for a moment with other religious figures, with all love and respect. Let's say Islamism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism, all the religions of the world, and all the leaders of those religions. Let's say the ultimate they could have achieved in their life in relation to humanity, they would have probably achieved the ultimate by changing a bad person into a good person, by bringing some values, morals, and whatever they brought with. So they would have changed a bad person into a good person.
Oh my God. Mo and Hope just broke this case wide open. My God. This is breaking news. This is breaking news. Okay. We gotta look at this. We gotta look at this in more detail. Are these the same person? I think they are. They very well might be the same dude. Bishop Marmari Emmanuel. Vermin Supreme. Bishop. Vermin. Bishop. Vermin. Oh my God. I feel like I'm seeing double.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'm going to skip past a bunch of this, and then we're going to go to the very end here, where he says even more nonsense things.
For over 1,600 years, for the church to be united in him, for the church to be united in him. You see all these different factions, Catholics, Orthodoxy, or Eastern and Oriental. You see Protestant branches, thousands of branches in there. The Lord is saying, unite, unite, unite. Till this very moment, we haven't put a smile on the Lord's face by uniting in his name. But when the vaccine came, when the pandemic came, all church leaders spoke the same language.
Oh, that makes sense. When the vaccine came, though, when the what did he call it? He called it the pandemic. Hold on, we need music for this situation. Wait, where is it?
Which is thousands of branches in there. The Lord is saying, unite, unite, unite. Till this very moment, we haven't put a smile on the Lord's face by uniting in his name. But when the vaccine came, when the pandemic came, all church leaders spoke the same language. Amazing. We did not unite for Christ, but we united for Satan. Now, to me...
Oh, we didn't unite for Christ. We united for Satan. Oh, this guy is special. He's a real special individual. And I am now absolutely blown away. We might have to tweet this. I have to tweet this out. Vermin Supreme. Bishop Marmari Emmanuel. Same guy? Question mark? Okay. Alright. It was just ridiculous. When I saw that go by, like, well, it didn't go by. I was like looking for some stuff because we were talking about Easter, and when that came by, I was like, "Oh my God, really? Satan and woke Pope in the same breath? We gotta get in there." Okay, now this next video is from Al Jazeera from a day ago, entitled "The Meaning of Easter in Palestine."
Al Jazeera Podcasts.
I don't want reality.
Today, the meaning of Easter in Palestine. As many Christians around the world mark the holiday Good Friday, we speak to a pastor in Bethlehem.
In Palestine, we say that our Good Friday has lasted way too long.
I'm Malika Bilal, and this is The Take.
So my name is Wunder Ishaq, and I'm the pastor of the Evangelical Lutheran Christmas Church here in Bethlehem in Palestine. And I'm also the academic dean of Bethlehem Bible College.
Which makes you Reverend Dr. Wunder Ishaq, and it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome to The Take. So Reverend, I want to start at the beginning, because you grew up in Bethlehem, where Jesus is believed to have been born. But I've heard you mention that living in the birthplace of Jesus isn't the first thing that comes to mind.
Believed. It's kind of fundamental, I'd point out. I feel like she's really underselling that.
When you're asked what it was like growing up there, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
The occupation defines a lot of our reality. And yes, many Western Christians are fascinated with the idea that I was born in Bethlehem. I'm actually speaking to you literally 5 minutes away from the Church of the Nativity where Jesus was born. But that's not what comes to mind first when I think of my past growing up in Bethlehem. What I remember most from my childhood is the first Intifada, is the curfews, is the demonstrations outside of our house. Some personal experiences that, quite honestly, I don't like to remember, like lying down on the floor when there is shooting outside of our house, or once even being slapped by a soldier. This is what I remember as a 10 years old, 9 years old. He slapped me in my face. It's these kind of memories that, for us Palestinians, we are still living them. And the sad reality is that my children are living this too. As we go through checkpoints now on a daily basis, it looks different now with, our life now is more about checkpoints, the separation wall. The occupation is still here. Let's not forget that. And let's not pretend that what's happening in Palestine is a conflict. This is one of the biggest misconceptions people have about the situation in Palestine, namely that it is a conflict. It's not a conflict. It's a reality of oppression and apartheid that we're still living on a daily basis.
Okay. Why do all these Jesus clubs have to be so exclusive? Am I not Jesus enough for the Jesus club? Come on. Got this super sweet helmet. Okay. This next video is from 11 hours ago, where Palestinians, Christians, were celebrating Easter in the occupied West Bank.
Holy Week, in the Holy City, in the Holy Land. Easter Vigil Mass on Saturday was said in front of a smaller than usual congregation. The Israeli military has denied travel permits to thousands of Palestinian Christians from the occupied West Bank. And foreign pilgrims have largely stayed away, put off by the ongoing conflict in Gaza. Father Gabriel Romanelli is the parish priest of the only Catholic church in Gaza. He wasn't there when the conflict erupted, so he's been staying in occupied East Jerusalem. He speaks on a daily basis to the Pope about the situation in Gaza.
The Pope Francis called every day from the beginning of this war, and he expressed his vicinity, his closeness with the community. He asked to us to protect the children, especially the children in the community, and he offered his prayer. We know that he works for stop this war.
Israeli airstrikes destroyed the Greek Orthodox Church in Gaza, which was one of the oldest churches in the world. Fewer than 1,000 Christians across all denominations.
Jesus Christ. They are just destroying everything. Doesn't matter if it's historical or important or having no relation to military infrastructure. Not that there really was any. For fuck's sake.
Remain in Gaza. At least 31 of them have been killed or have died since October. In the occupied West Bank, Christians, who again make up a tiny proportion of the population, face the same challenges as their Muslim neighbours: confiscation of their land by illegal Israeli settlers and restrictions on their movement. The Catholic Bishop of Jerusalem, William Shomali, himself a Palestinian, says very few Christians from the occupied West Bank were able to attend Holy Week events like the Palm Sunday procession.
This Easter, some people received the permit on Saturday night, so there was really no time to prepare a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And those who received permits were also a minority. So practically the procession went without the participation of pilgrims and of local Palestinians.
And so did the Easter Vigil Mass on Holy Saturday. Biblical locations associated with the Easter story, like the sites of the Last Supper, Crucifixion and Ascension, are all in Jerusalem, and they're revered places for Christians.
So depressing. I thought this would be done by now. It's spring. That's basically what Easter, in my mind, sort of sets up. You know, it's like Easter, then spring. Well, here we are in spring, still watching from afar a genocide happening, with no real end in sight. Israel does not seem to be interested in breaking from their current fucking objectives. It's an unfortunate way to celebrate a holiday. Multiple holidays now, I think, technically. I think today is the last day of... Am I right? I think today might be the last day of Ramadan. And, yeah, well... 2 holidays ruined at the same time. Israel really killing it. Okay, I'm gonna pull myself together. Swear to God. Well, it was phenomenal seeing all of you here today for the stream. Without you, I'm not sure I would have gotten through any of it. What did we accomplish? I don't know. But I'm glad we did it. I know I feel at least slightly more aware of what's happening in this crazy world of ours. Anyways, that's it for me. Till I see you next. You stay classy, Galactic Stream Nation. You didn't think I'd forget this, did you? Well, everybody, these are your Galactic patrons. Gabby, got Goth Dogs and Aaron W. The anti-corporatist, Vincent Morales, and Pitchfork's Dragon. This show would not be possible without the support of people like you.